What's up, guys? Welcome back to Inside Out Precision. Today we're going to be addressing probably one of the most common questions that I get regarding form or aiming, and that is, how do I get my pin to stop bobbing low or dropping during my shot process? I did a video on stabilizers a couple weeks ago, and a lot of the comments I had were actually regarding, what do I need to do to my stabilizers to get my pin to sit in the middle? And believe it or not, it has nothing to do with your stabilizer. You could have no stabilizer, heavy stabilizer, light stabilizer. If your form or your alignment is not correct, you will never get that pin to hold in the middle. It's always gonna want to drop. So I'm gonna show you the catalyst for that low pin drop and then what we can do to fix it. So I'm gonna kind of turn the camera here. Generally speaking, when I coach people and this is a problem they're having, it's almost always in either the back shoulder or the front shoulder. Sometimes it's a draw length issue. Usually it's just an alignment and posture issue. So what I see a lot of the times is we're gonna start with the front shoulder. And sometimes it can be a combination of the two, but we're gonna go over each and then you'll see how they kind of play into each other. So a lot of the time what I see is people, they come in and this front shoulder is high and inside. So from profile like this, it's gonna look something like that. So you see pretty good bend in that arm, and this shoulder is kind of hunched up here. From the front, it's gonna look, that shoulder is kind of in like this. What happens when that shoulder is high and inside like that is essentially this now acts as a hinge. So I draw back, and I'll show you this with the bow in a minute, but when I draw back, if this shoulder is high, as I pull into that shot, basically this shoulder is gonna start to rise slowly because it is higher than my bow hand. So as I start to pull, I'm putting pressure forward or pressure against that front hand, this shoulder starts to collapse. And as you can see on my arm here, as that shoulder collapses or comes up, that pin drops. So a lot of the time, you're probably aiming, that pin starts to drop and it literally feels like someone's got a lead weight on your arm. You can't get it back up. That's because once your shoulder is compromised here, once it's high and inside, you have no strength. You can't engage your back at all to pick up that bow. So what ends up happening is people, they start to try to lean back to compensate for it, and then the shot is completely screwed at that point. You may as well just throw it all away. Man, sorry about that. It's warm in here. So this might be a draw length thing. If your back shoulder is level and down here and everything's level here, but this front shoulder is hunched, you just need a longer draw length, because what we want to do is get this shoulder down and out in front of you. So here, not here. Boom, here, not here. Now, a really good kind of metaphor or analogy for this is if you imagine putting your front lat in your back pocket here. So my front lat in my front rear pocket, boom. Sucks that lat down. You'll feel it kind of right here under your rib cage, okay? So where your lat kind of connects to your rib cage, right under your armpit right here, that's where you should feel that load. When I get that shoulder down and in front of me, now it's pretty much a straight line from my hand back across my arm and across my shoulder. So that's gonna help actually push that bow forward. And if I need to lift something, if I'm lifting something up, I'm keeping that shoulder down, and if I'm doing a jumping jack, I'm not doing this. I keep that shoulder low and I bring my arm up like that. You're engaging your lat and your kind of like your trap back here basically. So shoulder is down and out in front of me. Now everything is straight across from front to back. Now, you can still have some bend in your arm, but you need that shoulder to be low. If bending your arm means that you have to do this, you're always gonna have a pin that drops. So that kind of covers the front half. Now the back half is equally as important. I see this a lot too. Some people come in and they anchor, you see them drop that front shoulder, but in doing so, they're actually tilting the axis of their back shoulder. So now their back shoulder and elbow comes up, so you can see my front shoulder is down, but look how much higher my back shoulder is. So now what happens is as I start to pull into that shot, I'm essentially gonna pull my front arm down. As I pull up here, that pressure is gonna drop my front arm. So the back shoulder is equally as important as the front shoulder. So to correct that, what I want you to think about is when you come in and draw, you're gonna relax kind of your trap and your rhomboid muscle back here. So I draw, relax that, and you can see how it, boom, sucks that rear shoulder blade down. So instead of here, it's here. When you can get this alignment as level as possible, you're gonna notice that that pin does not want to drop on you. It's gonna stay up. It's gonna be easier, if you do bob low, it's gonna be easier to get it back in the middle. So the front and rear shoulder are usually the catalyst for a pin that's dropping low. Now, obviously, if you are a new shooter and you have like way too much weight on your bow, you got a full quiver full of arrows and 8 ounces of stabilizer weight on the front and 10 on the back, and it's just way too much bow, it's gonna be hard to hold that pin in the middle. But if you've been shooting for a while and this is something that you're still having trouble with, you're gonna need to work on that posture. Now, this is kind of where draw length comes into this. You know, if I get here and in order to get to my anchor point, I have to bring this back shoulder up and in like this so that you're, you know, again, it's not level across here, you're up like this. You probably need a little bit longer draw length. Nothing is gonna change in the front, but as I lengthen that draw, it's gonna allow me to expand this way and get those hands in alignment. Whereas if I'm hunched in, you can see this elbow is high and it's outside of my ear. It's to the outside. I want to be able to drop that alignment and come in, focus on me. Drop that alignment, get that shoulder down and back so that it's basically a straight line from my front hand back across my shoulders to my rear hand and elbow. Lots of times I see short draw lengths where, again, their front arm looks good, their back arm might even be, you know, their back shoulder might even be level, but they're like this, right? This elbow is out. So when they expand, if they lengthen their draw length, I'm not gonna do it in the front. I'm not gonna straighten that arm more. It's gonna be an expansion of the chest and a contraction of the back to get that in. So it may be a draw length issue, it may be just a posture issue. So I'm gonna show you, you know, my draw length is set on this bow. So I'm gonna show you what, you know, if you film yourself, kind of what to look for here. So first I'm gonna do it correctly. So we come in, shoulders drop. See, it's pretty much a straight line right across there. Boom, everything goes straight away from each other. Now I'm gonna do it in kind of incorrect posture. So what you may be doing is drawing back, this shoulder's high and inside, your hips kind of kick out towards the target, so you're like this, back up a little more. You're kind of like this. We wanna be here, right? So not here, but here. So even though I didn't change the draw length, just by changing my posture, I can get those shoulders aligned. It's straight front and back. And the shot fires. That was a long hold. So the easiest way to do this is to video yourself. I'm gonna kind of tilt this camera down so I can show you the hips more. You know, when you're at full draw, if you see those hips kicked out and your body kind of curves this way, if you're like this, that's gonna be, you know, you need to kick those hips back towards the wall and shift kind of the axis of your shoulders from here to here. So take it from here to here. Now I actually did a video on this a while back with a subscriber, but it's way down the playlist. But if you look up it's one of our like 3rd or 4th videos, it's called Subscriber Coaching. A guy sends in a video and it's a perfect example of this. His draw length looks good, it's just strictly a posture issue. So go play around with this a little bit. If you feel like you're short and you lengthen your draw length a whole inch or a half inch and it feels like now you're too stretched out, maybe just play with your D-loop length a little bit. Or, you know, take a couple twists out of your string, or if you're feeling a little long, put a couple twists in your string. You know, you can micro adjust that draw length. You're not forced to shoot a full half inch difference. So Message me if you have any more questions on this. It's a really hard one to explain over text, so I figured I'd make a video on this. But it's probably one of the more common questions I get regarding aiming. And everybody wants to aim better, everybody wants to hold better. And like I said, usually it's not the bow, it's not the stabilizers, it's your alignment and your form. So I hope that clears some things up for you guys. Go give this a try at your local range. Let me know how it goes. Hit that comment section below. If you haven't hit the bell, the little dingy bell there, hit that, because we upload a video pretty much every week on Saturday morning. So 6 a.m. Eastern time, or excuse me, 6 a.m. Pacific time, that video is gonna upload. So those of you on the East Coast and 9 o'clock have your morning coffee, those of you who are early birds on the West Coast, you'll be, have the video first thing. Really appreciate all the support and views, guys. Things are going phenomenal, and we hope to have some merchandise for you in a few weeks here. We're finally getting some hats made and some shirts made, so keep an eye out for that. As usual, remember, precision is a decision. Keep them in the middle, and I'll see you on the range.